WMDs and still hasn't found any. There were WMDs in my apartment when I was growing up, and nobody seemed to care. Madam Contest Chair, fellow Toastmasters, and guests, the WMDs I'm referring to are the weapons of mom's discipline. That's right, those implements of torture that moms use to keep the kids in line. But first, you have to understand, these were different times. Back then, the book on parenting was really small. One sentence: spare the rod and spoil the child. The parents used to say, "We love you. That's why we beat you." Who remembers this? "This is going to hurt me more than it hurts you." Yeah, right. But you know, dads were working all day and moms are home, and they're little, they have tiny little hands, so they need weapons. And in the Italian household, that weapon often was in the form of the wooden spoon. Yes, the wooden spoon. And my mother could wield this wooden spoon like the conductor of the New York Philharmonic wields a baton. And it would go something like this. "Get away from there! Dum, 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 dum! Stop that! Dum, 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 dum! Leave her alone! Dum, 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 dum!" Now, most of the time, it never went that far, because whether she hit me or not, with the first or second blow, I'd fall to the ground and give a crying performance that would make Meryl Streep envious. But you know, the wooden spoon was mostly for show, and it would slip out of your hand. If I did something wrong, her weapon of choice was the hairbrush. Oh, the hairbrush. And this wasn't just some ordinary hairbrush. I was with my mother one time when she was buying one. And as I'm standing there watching her, it was like watching a golfer buy a $500 driver. She's holding it to balance, you know, she's moving it around, making sure it's very flexible. Some of the mothers, they would drill holes in the back to reduce drag and give more brush head speed. But you know, the challenge with the brush is it's small, so you gotta get in close. Which wouldn't be a problem if I was like one of those kids on Leave It to Beaver who would come right over, lay over the lap, and, you know, get the spanking. No. You wanna beat me, you gotta catch me. And I was fast. I was like Muhammad Ali, you know, I can do the Ali shuffle. You're gonna catch me like this, get it out. So what she had to do was use her version of a Scud missile to slip her, toss it at her, catch me in the corner, and start going. I block it like a perfecto. And I almost got her in trouble for that. Because we were at school for one of my many disciplinary meetings with my principal, Mrs. Bugelberger. And Mrs. Bugelberger saw the bruises on my arm, and she said, "Paul, what's that?" And I said to her, "Oh, this is where my mother beats me with a brush. And look, I've got splinters from the wooden spoon." Mrs. Bugelberger looks at my mom and says, "Mrs. Brunoforte, you beat Paul with a brush? You beat him with a wooden spoon?" She had a very weird voice. "You should know better than that." And I'm thinking, yes, I got her. She reaches behind her desk. Mrs. Bugelberg goes behind her desk and says, "You should use this. This is a rubber hose. It gets over his arm. And because it's rubber, you can beat him anywhere. It doesn't show any marks." You see, back then, any adult was allowed to beat you, especially teachers. Look, you can see the numbers 10, 11, and 12 on my hand, where the nuns would beat me with the ruler and catechism. But you know, the moms, they're busy with the cleaning and the ironing and doing all that. So occasionally, they had to delegate the beatings. Now, back in the 50s, the 6 most feared words in the English language was not, "The Russians have the atomic bomb." No, it was, "Wait And fathers, they had the worst weapon of all, the belt. And my father didn't just beat me, he was very demonstrative. He'd swing it around like and then he'd fold it like a nunchuck. And he'd get this little overbite and he'd tell me everything he's going to do. I'm going to hit you in the what? I'm going to beat you. I'm going to hit you in Fortunately, he only had to do that 2 or 3 times. Because like a little baby elephant, the memory of the beating was so deep in my psyche that in the future when I screwed up, all they had to do was say, belt! Ah! The memory came back. You know, I'm really glad today that people don't beat their kids. Debbie and I raised 3 sons, and we're so much smarter than our parents. Because when my kids screwed up, we knew what to do. We sent them to their room, where they had their television, their computer, their telephone, a basketball hoop, and a little refrigerator in case they should get a little hungry. But I tell you, if I had my druthers, what I would really like to do is gather up all those Italian moms and their WMDs and send them to Afghanistan. The war would be over by Monday.